Hey everyone, Jason here, aspiring entrepreneur, getting a late start to the day due to a sore throat, but thanks to some coffee and a little home remedy, we are back in action. I'm actually able to talk. Now I woke up, my throat was so swollen, I was just talking like this all morning. But hey, there you go, some caffeine and some tea, and all of a sudden we're rearing to go. So today I wanted to share with you how I'm sidestepping some webinar software to essentially have a webinar training on my WordPress site without using Stealth Seminar or EverWebinar. I know I've done a lot in the past talking about those two softwares. They're still the top two if you want to do automated webinars, but I keep getting questions about whether or not webinars are something you should even be doing in your business. So I want to address that and then show you how I've sidestepped, paying, $80 a month for Stealth Seminar or $500 a year for EverWebinar. But first, I want to answer the question of whether or not you should even be doing a automated webinar. And there is, of course, it depends is the answer, but I'll narrow it down to two choices. Choice number one, you've already invested a bunch of time putting together one, so go ahead and keep going. Choice number two, you haven't invested all that time in putting together one, so don't even start doing it. And if you're in camp number two and you're considering putting together like a giant webinar, just know that it can take anywhere from 30 to 70 hours total to put together a really good webinar training, whether it's 45 minutes or 90 minutes. And so instead of investing all of that time into one part of your sales process, take that time, invest it into building out your entire sales funnel, and then just make a 5 to 20 minute training in the beginning of your sales funnel to figure out whether or not your market is even going to respond to that training, and if your training is actually hitting the right pain points and delivering the correct benefits and features or desires that your ideal customer is looking for. Personally, what we're doing with one of our new funnels is we're not even putting together a webinar. We just put together a PDF lead magnet, and we're going to see if our advertising landing pages and our lead magnet and a 5-minute video actually address all of the major pain points. If they do, then we'll go ahead and start investing all that time to putting together a webinar. But after putting together, I think, 5 webinars total, I've made a lot of mistakes and had to redo a lot of them because I invested all that time before I really understood who the customer was. And I don't want you to fall into that trap either. So with that, let's go ahead and jump into my screen here, and I'm going to walk you through whether you're doing a 5 to 20 minute training or you're doing a full 45 minute to 90 minute training, how you can put that together on your WordPress site without EverWebinar and Stealth Seminar, and also show you why I actually think this is a much better way to go. And we're going to need 2 or 3 tools for this. First, we're going to be using the Thrive Ultimatum plugin. We're going to be using Thrive Architect for our landing pages. And then if you're using OptimizePress for your membership site, this will apply to you as well. So pretty much we're just using the Thrive Themes Kit and then OptimizePress for one of the pages. And the only reason OptimizePress is a part of this equation is I use OptimizePress for the membership website. So earlier this morning, I actually put this together in less than 15 minutes. I went ahead and downloaded the Thrive Ultimatum plugin. I just watched this quick getting started video that was about 5 minutes, and then I went in and built my first ultimatum campaign. Now what's cool about Thrive Ultimatum is it adds real countdown timers to your pages. So when someone comes to my training, it comes to a page that looks something like this. It says free training, and you notice instead of a webinar, I just call it a free training because I'm not using a webinar software for this particular test. And this is something else you can do, right? I mean, training, webinar, it's kind of supposed to be the same thing. And then they come to a page that looks not this one. Oh, because it's been so long. Well, they come to a page where this is not here. This is a time drop. But and come to a page where you can actually start watching the actual training. So this training is about 54 minutes long, and you'll notice that when this page loads, you'll see that it doesn't autoplay. And this is the problem that all of the automated webinar softwares are facing and video sales letters are facing, because Chrome and Safari, which are the big two, are blocking the ability for the video to autoplay. So now someone has to click. So even if they're using Stealth Seminar or EverWebinar, you're still going to have your viewers click. It doesn't just automatically jump in and start playing, which was one of the big advantages to using those pieces of software. They were able to get the video to appear as if it was a stream to start playing. Not the case anymore. So number one, you're going to have to create a custom thumbnail, kind of like what I've done here, where it says click play, and there's a giant kind of play button in the middle. Or you can get fancy, and I've seen Wistia actually rolled this out, but you can do some custom coding to do this yourself and actually use a GIF as your thumbnail. So you just have this little like 1 or 2 second graphic or animation to get people to actually start watching the video or click play. So of course, once you click play, the video will start. But this is just one of the reasons that I keep getting questions about whether or not you should even bother with the softwares anymore, because no matter what you're doing, someone is going to have to click play if they want to see your sales message. Now, the other big advantage of webinar software is the urgency, right? Saying that you have to watch it at a specific time, and then there's a limited time for the replay. Well, that's where this Thrive Ultimatum plugin comes in, because now we're able to add real countdown timers to our pages on WordPress. So you can see here, you can have a ribbon at the top or a short code. Eventually, I'm just going to have a short code. I think the ribbon at the top is excessive, but just for example purposes, we have a page that looks like this turned into a page that looks like this, where we have a countdown timer at the top, creating that sense of urgency. And creating that sense of urgency, and it needs to be real, by the way. If someone comes back to this page in 7 days and it's still up, well, you've kind of just blown your entire marketing process for all time with that particular client. So one of the things I like about Thrive Ultimatum is after 7 days, either on the main play page or the replay page that I send people to after they've seen this main page once. Gosh, that was a little confusing. When they first opt in, they see this page, there's no actual buttons or controls. Then during the follow-up sequence, I allow them to skip through the it's 59 minutes, geez. The 59-minute webinar, because I don't really know where they were. And again, with cooking, it's really hard to have someone jump right back in where they were. So just allow people to skip around. But there is a countdown timer up here, and it's a very real countdown timer, because after 7 days, Thrive Ultimatum will automatically redirect that person to a page that says, sorry, the training or the offer is over. And I think this is the best way to start, because you're probably already using Thrive themes on your site. And even if you're not, you can just buy the Thrive Ultimatum plugin. I think it's like 30 or 50 bucks. If you want a fake chat on the side, there are also plugins for WordPress that do that for less than $100. So even if you're not using the software I'm using on my site, you can put together a webinar room for less than a couple $100, and that's just a one-time fee versus having to pay year after year or having to pay month over month, whether you're doing Stealth Seminar or Ever Webinar. So this is what I recommend starting with if you're not quite sure whether webinars are something that you should be doing. And if you find that you're successful with these, then go ahead and start shelling out the extra cash for using Stealth Seminar or Ever Webinar and getting a little more fancy with how you're delivering the content. But really, I think this is the way to go, because there's just so much wasted energy and headache and time that I see over and over again with clients and students and subscribers to this channel and emails that I get of people just getting so hung up on the details when it comes to getting their webinar set up or getting it, perfect, or having the email sequencing timing right. Just keep it simple in the beginning, because you don't even know. I have no idea if this version of this webinar is going to be successful or not, right? So why spend all the time and effort setting up a software, setting up advanced email sequences? Because if it takes all that advanced automation in order for the sales process to be successful, then that means that the webinar really needs to be fixed, because all of those other automations should just increase your conversion rates, but you should still have a healthy conversion rate or healthy sales rate with a simple 5 to 7 day email sequence driving people back to your training. And of course, the big asterisk here is the training does actually have to be valuable. If the training is not valuable, nobody's going to want to go back and actually watch it. And I think that's the biggest problem with webinars now, and why they're going to become less and less successful, is because there are so many people out there creating webinars that offer no value. It's just like a 30 or 60-minute pitch for some silly little product, and there's no actual value, there's no actual training. And even some that say, oh, it's going to be, and I'm sure you've been on these webinars, oh, this is going to be different, we're going to dive into this, we're going to dive into that. And then there's maybe like 5 minutes of actual real content, and the rest is just a bunch of fluff you could have found in a YouTube video. And so that's my goal with this webinar, is for it to be actually valuable and actually deliver some insights into my content creation process that I haven't shared yet on this channel. So just make sure that your webinar or your training, whether it's 5 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, or 45 or an hour like this one, I definitely don't recommend an hour, that was just me being stupid, is it delivers actual value. So I hope that's helpful to you and kind of answers the question for now of whether you should be doing webinars or training videos. Of course, I'll update you in the future as to how this particular process works once I launch it and I get Thrive Ultimatum to talk to Optimize Press correctly, because their short codes are doing this right now. But hey, that's just part of WordPress, but eventually it'll all be on Thrive. So hopefully you're just using all Thrive stuff and you won't have to deal with that. So until the next vlog, keep building the business you love.